You didn't go to the office, you sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. The contract still clenched in your hand, your chest felt tight, your throat felt dry, and your mind kept replaying the same moment over and over. The terms are over, you can leave whenever you want. You tried to tell yourself he was just angry, maybe he didn't mean it, maybe he would come back after calming down. So you waited, you didn't call Yon, you didn't check your office phone, you didn't even touch your laptop, you just waited. Minutes turned into hours, and tears still didn't come. The silence inside the house felt like a punishment. Finally you stood up, your eyes were tired, but your decision was firm. Why, no. You whispered to yourself, I'm not leaving like this, not without looking him in the eye. You left the house quietly. Mrs. Kim was in the kitchen, having softly while chopping vegetables, and Grandpa was outside busy with something. You didn't want questions, you just wanted answers. You walked down the village road, your steps quick, your heart pounding with every second. You remembered the direction, the field, the place where Taehyung worked. As you got closer, you slowed down, because something in your chest felt strange, a warning. You told yourself you was overthinking, but the moment you reached the edge of the field, you stopped, your entire body froze, your breath caught in your throat, because what you saw you was not prepared for. He was there, standing near the crops, his sleeves rolled up, his hands slightly dirty from work, but he wasn't alone. A girl stood beside him, her hair was long, thick, and perfectly styled. Your heart shattered in one single second because Taehyung's hand was on the girl's cheek. Your vision blurred, your mind went blank, and for a second, you could not even hear the wind, you couldn't hear the birds, you couldn't hear your own breathing. All you could hear was your heart breaking. So this is why he gave me the contract. So this is why he wanted me gone. You took one step back, your throat burned, eyes stung. You didn't wait to see more, didn't wait to hear their voices, didn't wait for him to notice you, because if you stayed one more second, you could collapse. You turned around and walked away. By the time you reached the house, your face was pale, your hands were shaking. You walked straight to the room, straight to your suitcase, and started packing. You threw clothes into the suitcase, folded nothing, organized nothing. You didn't even realize your fingers were trembling until you dropped your shirt and your knees scraped against the floor. Your breath came in short, uneven gasps, your eyes were dry. You was numb. Then the door cracked open. Mrs. Kim stood there. Mrs. Kim surprised. Why? Didn't look at her. Keep packing. Mrs. Kim stepped closer, confused. Mrs. Kim, why are you packing? Your finger paused for a half a second, then continued. Mrs. Kim tried again, softer this time. Mrs. Kim, are you going on a tour or something? You finally spoke. Why, no, Yuma. Mrs. Kim blinked. Then why? You didn't answer because if you opened your mouth properly, you would scream, cry. You would say things you could never take back. Mrs. Kim stared at you for a long moment. Mrs. Kim, oh, maybe you are just changing all things. She started to sound normal, like she didn't feel the sudden coldness in the room, like she didn't feel her heart sinking. You didn't respond. Mrs. Kim stood there for another moment, then quietly left. You finished packing. The suitcase sat beside the bed. Then you saw it. The contract papers still on the table. You stared at them. Your fingers slowly reached out and touched the page. For a moment you thought, I should write a letter, but then that scene flashed in your mind again. Taehyung's hands on another girl's cheek. Picked up the pen, folded the blank paper and threw it back into the drawer. Pulled the suitcase handle and without looking back you walked out. You forced yourself to walk into the office like nothing had happened, like your heart wasn't cracked open, like you hadn't just left a house that had started to feel like home. You keep repeating one thing in your head, work, focus, forget, but the moment you stepped inside, you knew something was wrong. The entire floor was in chaos. People were running, phones were ringing non-stop, staff members were whispering in tight circles, their faces pale, their eyes full of panic. Your stomach dropped. What now? You murmured. Before you could take another step, he spotted you and rushed toward you like he had been searching for you for hours. His hair was messy, his style loosened, his eyes looked exhausted. Yon boss, Yon grabbed your arm lightly. Where are you? I have been calling you since morning. You didn't pick up even once. You put your hand away gently, trying to stay calm. Why? I was busy. You said, your voice deep. What happened? Why is everyone acting like the building is on fire? Yon swallowed hard. Yon boss, there is going to be a press briefing. Your eyebrows frowned. Why? A press briefing for her? Yon, our shareholders committee seniors, everyone is refusing to work. They are saying they won't continue under you. Why? What? Your voice came out sharper than you mean. Why? Yon shook his head helplessly. Yon, I don't know, media and some people. They found proof of something and our rival company is using it to destroy us. Your spirit ran cold. Why? Proof of what? Yon looked away like he didn't want to say it out loud. Then he said it anyway. Yon, your marriage. Ears were detailed, your lips parted, but no words came out. Yon grabbed your elbow again, urgency in his grip. Yon, boss, please come quickly. You walked into the briefing room and your chest tightened. It wasn't a meeting, it was an execution. Dozens of reporters, cameras, microphones, live broadcast, lights so bright they made your eyes hurt. Every single person in that room was waiting for you, waiting to tear you apart. You stood still for 1 second, your mind blank, then you forced yourself to walk forward. The moment you stepped into the spotlight, questions exploded. Mrs. Lee, Wyan, Miss Lee, CEO Lee, look here. Flashes blinded you, and then one question cut through everything like a knife. A female reporter stood up, her voice sharp, merciless. Mrs. Lee, Wyan, is it true that your marriage was a contract marriage? Your breath caught. The room went silent for half a second before the reporters continued. Is it true that you were married only to keep your grandfather's estate and your position in the company? Your entire body stiffened, your fingers got into fists at your side. How do they know? You stared at the reporters, your eyes hardening. Why? That is my personal matter, you said, your voice cold control, and it has nothing to do with my company. But the reporters weren't here for your boundaries. A second reporter stood up immediately, then admitted, you did it to keep your power. Isn't it true that the contract states you only keep everything as long as your grandfather is alive? Your thoughts tightened, you felt the room closing in. And now your grandfather is dead, so why are you still the CEO? Your thoughts stamped painfully against your rib. You could hear your own heartbeat louder than the room. You clenched your jaw. You forced yourself not to shake. Why? Do you have proof of what you are accusing me of? You asked your voice steady, too steady. reporter smiled. Of course we do. And then the projector screen behind them lit up. A document appeared, the contract, your name, Taehyung's names, terms, conditions, signatures, everything. Second, you couldn't breathe, your ears rang, the room erupted, gasps, whispering, shock, mockery. Even your own staff looked stunned. You saw a few of them turning to each other, whispering like you were suddenly a stranger. Before you could even speak again, one of the committee seniors stood up. Mr. Me. His face was dark with rage. Mr. Me. Mrs. Lee, he said loudly, making sure the cameras caught his voice. Is this true? You responded, while as Mr. Min cut you off. Mr. Min, I want a direct answer. The room filled with silence. Every camera lens pointed at you. You looked at the screen again, your content displaying like a crime, like I was a thief. Your voice came out raw, while yes. Of noise burst across the room. Some reporters smiled like they had owned. Some laughed, some started shouting new questions. Mr. Min didn't let you breathe. Mr. Min, you have dragged our company's names through mud. He said loudly, this is a scandal. Do you understand what you have done? Your hands trembled. You held them behind your back so no one could see. While I didn't, you started. But Mr. Park raised his hand. Mr. Park, no, his voice was final. The committee will not allow you to remain CEO. This company cannot survive with this doing. You stared at him, your chest tightened so hard you thought you might faint. And you were saying this, you whispered in front of the media live. Mr. Min's eyes were cold. Mr. Min, because the company comes first. The briefing ended like a storm. You didn't remember walking out. You didn't remember the hallway. You didn't remember the elevator. All you remembered was your voice frantic beside you. Boss, please, let's go together. Don't go alone. You stopped and turned to him. Your eyes were empty. You said quietly, don't follow me, yawned, but while I said don't, Yoon's lips trembled. He looked like he wanted to protect you, but you didn't want anyone's pity. You walked away. You returned to the house, and the moment you arrived, you couldn't even step inside. There were people outside, strangers, media, some committee representatives, some angry shareholders, some locals who had gathered out of curiosity. The moment they saw you, voices rose. You can't stay here anymore. You're not the CEO. The company belongs to the board now. You stood at the gate frozen. Your suitcase wasn't even in your hand, and your hands were empty, and still, they wanted to take everything. My things, everything here is under the company's assist now. You break your husband. While what? You whispered. Some spoke louder, crueler. Under the contract terms, a new CEO will be appointed. You break his. You couldn't proceed because you didn't have strange step. Your whole life was collapsing from every side. Your eyes were wet now. You turned around slowly like a ghost and walked away. Stood on the roadside for a long time, not knowing where to go. Then your fingers moved on their own. You pulled out your phone and called the only person you could, your sister. The phone rang. While the moment you heard your sister's voice, you broke. Your voice cracked while you knew. Your sister's tone changed instantly. What happened? Why are you crying? Where are you? Slow, trying to speak when I can't stay here. What? Why? You closed your eyes. Why? Can I come to your house? Your sister didn't ask questions. Of course, come right now. Taehyung came home late that night. The house was too quiet. Taehyung stood in the living room for a second. His tie loosened, his suit jacket hanging from one shoulder. His eyes scanned the space, nothing. A strange uneasiness colored up his spine. Taehyung sighed. I think I should talk to Wind again. He muttered to himself, guilt pressing heavy in his chest. What I did this morning, it wasn't right. He took a step toward the bedroom, then another. The door cracked when he pushed it open. And the moment he looked inside, his heart dropped. The room was wrong. The wardrobe doors were slightly open. The shelves were too neat. Taehyung walked in slowly like he was afraid the truth would jump at him. He yanked the wardrobe open, empty. No signs that even belongs there. Taehyung's breast his fingers went numb. He turned around sharply, his eyes scanning the bed, and that's when he saw it, a paper. Placed carefully on the bed like a final statement. Taehyung walked toward it with shaking steps. He picked it up. His eyes frozen on the words, the contracts, his signature, your signature. Taehyung's jaw tightened, his voice came out like a whisper. Taehyung, one left. A sharp knock made him freeze. Before he could even move, Mrs. Kim rushed into the room, her face drained of color. Mrs. Kim, Taehyung, she cried, come quickly. He reached the living room and stopped dead. The television was on, a live telecast, reporters, cameras, flashes, and in the middle of it all, you. Standing alone, face pale, eyes blank, your lips trembling as the committee spoke over you right, you wasn't even human. Taehyung could not breathe. He stared at the screen like his body had turned to stone. Then he can slammed against the floor. A furious voice exploded behind him. You, Taehyung turned, Grandpa. He looked like a storm, his face red with rage, his chest rising and falling like he could barely breathe. Taehyung could see a word stab. The sound echoed through the room. Taehyung's head snapped to the side. Grandpa's voice shook with fury. Grandpa, what is this? He pointed at the TV. What is this contract? Marriage nonsense. Since when? Mrs. Kim stood frozen beside them, trembling, her hands covering her mouth. Mrs. Kim, that's why Warren is packing. I saw her packing her things and I thought she was just changing old stuff. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't know she was leaving, Grandpa. I don't care about the contract, he said, voice shaking. I don't care about the scandal. He turned toward them with eyes full of betrayal. Retrusted me with one's life. Grandpa's voice broke, and you ruined everything. Tears so tightened the young grandpa. While Grandpa suddenly cursed his chest, his expression twisted, he staggered back, his hands pressed hard against his heart. He collapsed onto the sofa like all the strength had drained from him. Mrs. Kim screamed, Mrs. Kim, father. Tiang rushed forward, Tiang, grandpa. He tried to hold him, but grandpa shoved him away. Grandpa, don't touch me, he snapped, betrayed, don't touch me. Tiang arrived at the company and stopped inside, but he wasn't there. Your office was empty. Your name plate was still on the desk, but it felt like a ghost. Then he turned sharply, and then he saw Yon. Yon looked exhausted, like he hadn't breathed properly all day. Taehyung walked straight up to him. Taehyung, where is she? Yon finished, Mr. Kim. Taehyung, where is wine? He repeated, voice low, dangerous. Yon sighed. I walked her out. He admitted, I told her to come with me, but she refused. When continued, she lived alone and she can't even go back to her house anymore. The committee took everything. I don't know where she is now. Taehyung stared at him, his voice came out rough. And then how the hell do I find her? Yeon didn't answer because he didn't have one, and that silence, it made Taehyung's heart sink deeper. I arrived at your sister's house at night. Your suitcase was in your hand, your heart was in pieces, but you forced yourself to smile because the moment the door opened, a tiny girl came running out like a ball of sunshine. Auntie. Your eyes softened, you crouched down and opened your arms. Arrow threw herself into you. You laughed, your voice shaky. When look at you, you whispered, lifting her into your arms. You have gotten so big. Arrow giggled. You took out a small bag from your purse and handed it to her. Wine, this is for you. Arrow's eyes widened. Arrow, my gift? Wine nodded. Yes, my baby. Arrow squealed and ran inside, already tearing it open. You stood there for a moment and then your sisters appeared. Irene. Her expression was tense, worried. Irene crossed her arms. Irene, wine, I just saw the news. Your smile faded slightly. Wine, it's not exactly what they showed. You say quietly. Irene didn't respond. Instead, she sighed. Irene, dinner is ready. You can eat. Then, as if forcing herself to say it, Irene, you can sleep in the guest room. You noticed the wine, okay, but you understood. Irene wasn't happy you came. She wasn't cruel, but she wasn't welcome either. The house felt silent. You lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Your thoughts felt dry. You could not sleep. Finally, you sat up and whispered water. You got out of bed and walked toward the kitchen. But as you reached the living room, it stopped because you heard voices. Mark sounded irritated. Mark, I told you, he said. He had to leave tomorrow. You froze, fingers started around the edge of the wall. Harry's voice sounded tired. Irene, she just came today. How can I tell her to leave right away? Mark scoffed. I didn't want anyone involved in a scandal staying in my house. His voice turned sharper. My business will be affected. Your stomach twisted. Irene spoke softly. Irene, she wanted to come. I couldn't say no. Let her stay a few days. She said she will live on her own. Said that he was already annoyed. Man, then tell her tomorrow. Tell her to rent an apartment and stay there. Irene hesitated. Okay. You felt your eyes fill instantly. You turned around quickly before they could hear you. Went back to the guest room and shut the door. Your hands covered your mouth as tears spilled silently. Your body shook. You whispered to yourself, when tomorrow morning your voice broke, I will leave. You wiped your face with your sleeve, breathing hard. You stared at the floor with dead eyes and whispered one last time, tomorrow morning I'm leaving.